peoples of the worldwide federated internet. What is good? Okay, so today's going to be an open discussion. I don't know what I'm talking about. I got my youngest daughter here with me, and I got my oldest daughter over here on the sidelines. She's smiling. She doesn't want to be in the video. But, Brooklyn, what you want to talk about?
I don't know. Let's just have our deep conversations that we normally have.
Okay, let's talk about Black Lives Matter. What's your thoughts?
I think it's a big...
Almost got her in the video.
I think it's a big, overreaction. A lot of people are taking it way too far, especially with the violence. I couldn't be a part of that. And then when I say that, people get mad, and I'm just like, yeah, I know I'm black, but, you guys aren't doing the right things right now.
Okay. So, my stance, y'all already know I don't support the Black Lives Matter organization at all. They pretty much want to eradicate the nuclear family, man, woman, children. That would destroy communities, thus destroying society as we know it. Not rocking with that at all. I have taught my kids to value family. Have I not?
Yeah.
My kids know it's all about family. You have to build a strong family if you want to build a strong community. And you got to build a strong community if you want to build a strong nation. These are things that you guys always hear me say on these videos. But I don't just say this, I live this. My kids know I talk about the Bible and what the Bible says about any issue all the time. Do I not?
Yeah, constantly.
That's my stick. This is not an act that I put on. This is really what I do. So I guess one thing we could talk about that we've talked about before is public education. Lord willing, next year, she will be doing school online. My oldest daughter will be headed off to college. She graduates this year, a year early, which I'm very thankful for. What would you say is one of the worst things about public school outside of kids that don't really go to learn? As far as the curriculum.
The way the classrooms are set up, they're not very, they don't really get students into, learning something. That's probably why most students, don't pass. You're not interested in the class. And I guess, online school, you get to do it at your own pace. And then, you get to do things that you're interested in and pick classes that you actually want and not just, have to be forced to do certain classes because you need to graduate.
Okay, so tell the people that are out there listening what you told me about math, because you said you were doing better. So since the Ronapocalypse, as y'all know, they shut down schools, and here in Florida they allowed them to do school online, which I think in most places they did that, and that's why we decided moving forward to just allow her to do it online next year as well. But what did you feel as far as math? Was your ability to learn better online? And what was the experience versus going to a physical school?
It was definitely better to learn online because I got a better grade. I got 100 in math, which is something that never happened. And I think I don't know if it's the teachers and how the way they teach, but it just confuses students. So when they taught it online, you actually had to read articles and stuff and watch long videos, 10-minute videos or 20-minute videos on how to do something. And then in the classroom experience, there's a lot of distractions, kids trying to talk to you while the teacher's talking, or other people messing with you and stuff like that. It's just hard to explain.
So would you say that with online learning, you were more interested in what you were learning?
Yeah. They definitely kept me interested. It was way better than I don't know, just sitting in a confined little area is not appealing to me. I don't know if like other kids feel that way too, but it doesn't sit well with me. I don't learn well that way. So being in my own environment and learning something in the comfortability of my house made it better.
Okay. So do you think that the fact that when you're in a classroom environment with multiple students and they're moving at different paces, like some people learn faster, some people learn slower, do you think that affected you negatively in a classroom environment, like different people learning at different paces? And how so? How do you feel it affected you?
Well, for me, it depends on what subject we're on, and I think that's how it is with certain people, because some subjects you learn faster and then you really want to like get through it, and some subjects you work slower, but like with the teachers, they can't slow down for you because there's a certain time limit they have, so you have to get it down when they say you need to get it down or else you're gonna fail. And I guess that affects you because like sometimes you get it down but you still like need like time to practice in order to really get it down.
I feel that. So I won't necessarily go over a Bible verse today, but what I will say is when I had my children, of course I didn't have them, their mom had them, but these children are mine. They do not belong to the state. Nobody can train your children. Well, I say nobody. The best environment for training your children is an environment with you and them, like that interpersonal environment. And I think one of the biggest problems we have today is we send our kids off to public school and we expect public schools to give them the education they need. And I don't know if that's feasible, and I don't know if they can get the education they need. And biblically, children are your responsibility. I'm not against public school, but I figured out a long time ago that I'm not relying on public school to give my children the complete education they need. We talk about history a lot, do we not?
Yeah.
We talk about history, we talk about politics, we talk about the Bible, we talk about everything at the table. There's things that my children probably know about history, about the Bible, about society that most adults don't know. And I know that because these are things that I didn't know when I was their age and that I didn't know even well into my 20s.
We also talk about marriage and relationships too.
A lot. The reason marriages are falling apart and the reason that relationships don't last, there's several reasons, but one of the things that doesn't happen is parents don't talk to their children about relationships, and children don't know how important relationships are. What importance should they place on a relationship? What value do they place on faithfulness? This is something that we talk about a lot. My kids already know how I feel about these things. I take them to the Bible. This is what the Bible says about this. This is how it's supposed to be. This is the things that I have trained into my children. So hopefully going into the next generation, they will have a respect for relationships and hopefully, Lord willing, carry that onto their children. The biggest thing we can do for this country not to fall apart, is for people to teach their children. People are not talking to their children. People are not teaching their children. I moved a couple months ago. That's a long story for another day. But I'm FaceTiming with this one every day, several times a day. We're on the phone and we're talking. My oldest daughter, like I said, she's getting ready to head off to college. My oldest son is off doing his thing in the military, and my youngest son is in college. So they've started the next chapter in their lives. But I've always been this way with my children. Even when I had a traveling job, I was calling, texting, keeping up. We had long conversations. If something was going on that their mom needed me for as far as dealing with them, I was on the phone barking on everybody. She'll tell you. I'm on the phone 8,000 miles away letting it off. They already know. So what do you think? What do you think public school in its current form is helpful at all?
No. There's not enough discipline, I guess. Which I guess that comes from the students too, because you have to be like dedicated to getting your school done. And some kids aren't dedicated to getting their school done, and I think those kids shouldn't be in school. If they don't want to like dedicate themselves, they need to either go somewhere else, something like that. Because I feel like it affects the other kids who are actually dedicated to school and who want to go to college. Because I know it affected me a lot.
Part of that, I think, is parenting, right? And government can never solve family issues. It'll never happen. And one of the problems you have in public school is you have people who send their kids to public schools, some single parents, and I understand how that can be. I grew up in a single parent home. It's hard to worry about your job, paying the bills, and keeping up with what your kid's doing in school. You should, but I understand how some people may have a problem with that. And the issue with that is, so I place an importance in learning to my kids. So they go to school and they know what the deal is. They know I'm not playing around. This is not a joke, right? This is not social hour. That's not why you're going to school. Some people send their kids to school and it's pretty much a babysitter. They don't really care. They just need somewhere for their kids to go while they're working. And I understand that. The problem is public education can't really solve the key issue we have in society. One of the biggest issues we have, and I went over this in one of my videos, is lack of knowledge. I don't think that can really come from public school. Like I said, I've talked to my kids about history. I've talked to my kids about marriage. I've talked to my kids about the most important thing, the Bible, right? These are things that are being left out of children's lives. Like you can't, and I want to know your thoughts on this. This is my thoughts. And y'all know I've said this before. You can't tell a kid for 12 years in school they came from some ooze out of the ocean. They somehow mutated from apes to what they are now. This all came from a big bang. And there's no God, and expect them to be some kind of a moral, upstanding individual as they get older. If there's no God, why do I have to follow these rules? Who said these rules are the rules that are supposed to be? Who made that decision? Why are they king? Why do I have to do any of this? So I think one of the things is we, in our effort to be so freedom and liberty minded, that we almost lose our minds. I'm all for freedom and I'm all for liberty, but people use that as an excuse to remove God out of every equation, and I don't think that helps.
Yeah, when I was younger, we didn't really talk about God as much, and I think it definitely affected me, because when I was younger, I was just thinking, like, what is the point? Like, what is the point? We, like, didn't come from anything, so, like, why are we here? What are we doing here? What's the point? It was confusing to me as a kid, because I didn't really understand what was like happening, what was going on, and like why they always left it out of school and stuff. And I get people have like their different religions and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, so you kind of you lose focus. You feel like you have no purpose.
Yeah.
And a person with no purpose is a dangerous person. So anyway, like I said, it was just an open discussion with me and my youngest. Tried to get my oldest in this video. She didn't want to be in it. And I hear her in the background getting ready to walk in the room, and she probably turned around when she heard me say that. So anyway, y'all know how I do. Stay frosty, people.